Hey guys, how's it going? So recently JackX did a prototype showing of what the construction rework would be. And while it did look quite amazing for a long outdated skill, at least compared to some of the other ones, and especially compared to what the mining and smithing rework will do, it did seem like it would still keep the current infrastructure of the skill. So things like your furniture and the furniture, the hotspots, and basically everything would remain the same. It would just be a customization change. So I'm creating this video to show several things I think could be done to improve on that. So for starters, the hotspots, especially certain ones, can appear to be quite cramped. Even if we can rearrange the furniture how we want, it will still all be in a very enclosed space, so for most of the rooms, most likely they will remain the same. That is why I believe, at least for some rooms, you should be able to increase their size to at most twice the area. So if I were to say choose the room I'm in, which is the throne room, it would increase to about somewhere out there. And while that might seem big, especially considering how uncrowded the room is right now, I do think that there are, as I said, some hotspots that could use this. So naturally this would be done with spacing in mind so that even with the expanded room, it wouldn't overlap into any other room. So you wouldn't have that kind of issue that was shown on the prototype video where hotspot items like the bench could be placed sort of outside the room and would go partially outside of it. Also, there would be the issue of door placement, given that it could be twice the area the room is connected to. However, with the already proposed changes to construction and proper preparation, it could work, so it would probably be something where you would either be able to have the room a bit to the side, or it would just be a room that's completely separated from all the other ones except for the one that it's connected to. As far as some of the rooms I believe would be best affected by this, there's the dining room, the combat room, the gardens, the bedroom, and the study. So just to show it off what I mean and basically where I got this idea, and was simply that when Mod Shawnee was doing his Curse to You party reenactment, it didn't look all that big downstairs in the combat room, and seemed like there was barely any room between the door and the combat ring. So this is kind of the idea where it came from. And so moving on to my next idea, this kind of fits into why, even though the bedroom seems like a good size, especially it does seem a bit like right now, it does seem a bit like it's underwhelming, especially with the bed. So moving on to my next idea, to have higher level items in lower level rooms. So while rooms that are higher level that have pretty good aesthetics, runes that are lower level that you more or less start off with in the first week or so, like the parlor, the dining room, the workshop, and the kitchen. They haven't quite been kept up with, so they don't, even at their highest level furniture, they still don't match anywhere close to the aesthetics of the higher level rooms. And I would like to see this change, because when you look at some of the newer rooms, or the higher level rooms, like the throne room and also even the oubliette and the study, these rooms, they kind of look meh in comparison. So as you can see, there's just a wooden barrel on a kind of a stool. There's a steel sink, a regular wooden table and larder, and although the shelves are gold trimmed, as you can see, the shelves themselves are quite wooden, so it does take away from it. And it's the same thing with the parlor, where you have the just wooden bookcases, nothing real too out there about them, as well as the chairs. I mean, I get that it's a parlor and you're just sitting there to hang around with your friends, but at the moment it doesn't look like it's made for a person with a high level of construction. So, and like, even compared to the marble fireplace, the rest of the room doesn't seem all that great. So what I would like to see, as you can probably guess, is the more higher level furniture added to lower level rooms, just so that they can appear like you have the level for the skill and basically so that they don't look all that plain. Okay, so moving on, this is one that has been on the minds of a lot of players, and it's basically the chapel altars, and they're kind of outdated in the sense that, well, there's nothing wrong with them skill-wise, even though it ends at about level 75. The gilded altar is quite amazing in what you can do with it, considering that with both burners lit, you can get about 300% experience, I believe. So if they were to put in a higher level altar, there would probably need to be some rebalancing between the new altar and the gilded altar. So, but that's not what this is about. But rather this, the banners, the icons, the statues, and glass frame. All of this just, it's kind of bit more fit for a 5th age mindset, while our play your own house is technically in the 6th age. So currently we have, if you have completed the quest and you've gone through the world events, you've pretty much met everybody, yet cannot acknowledge their existence in your own home. So like Thanatos, Armadillo, Zaros, Saren. Now I can understand that adding into all the possible options with a symbol might be too unrealistic. However, we should be able to devote ourselves to at least the factions that have emissaries, with the possible addition of either Brassica Prime or someone the Desert Pantheon. Brassica Prime just because, well, it's kind of been a joke, and so they added Bob, so I can see that they could add him, especially with the Cabbage quest coming up, or the Gower quest, I mean. And as for the Desert Pantheon, while they're not as big as the other factions, and they do have their own central quest storyline, so I could see how they could be added. And for the final thing I would like to talk about is basically the dungeon PVM. So there hasn't been much in a while to attract people to the PVM aspect of player-owned houses. And basically the dungeon monsters are simply too outdated, and so do not have the same kind of capabilities as newer monsters. So to go further into this is why, at least for the dungeon pit, I suggest making the current monsters closer together in their necessary construction level, while adding some new monsters for the higher levels. And I know it could seem like we don't have too many options, because although people like that there are a lot of Slayer options added, some of them might not fit, and others just wouldn't work right in this area. But I do think that we have plenty of choices to choose from, such as the Camel Warriors, Ripper Demons, Nihil, Muspa, and for those who have completed Fate of the Gods, Celestial Dragons, A-Root, Automatons, etc. However, even these ideas wouldn't be able to stand a chance to a group of players, which is something that would be encouraged for player-owned houses. So this is why I'm also proposing a whole new room as well, and one in which takes from my previous idea about hotspot size, and when you enter it, you'll come face to face with a brand new, totally POH unique boss. So this boss would only be available in a POH, and you wouldn't be able to fight it on the surface world. So to make this boss interesting, this boss would have its own special attacks, a large amount of health, and would hit harder than anything else in the POH. It won't drop anything, but it will provide the most fun PVM that you will get out of your POH. Also, the room likely wouldn't have any decorations other than some on the wall like the dungeon pit, because you wouldn't want anything to get in the way between you and the boss. And if there were any decorations that weren't on the wall or close to it, then they would probably need to be built in first, as they would likely have something to do with the boss's attacks. Sort of like with the Gluttonous Behemoth, where you have to try and block it from getting to the quartz that it will try to eat and restore health. So other than or it would be something like, I can't think of any right now, but one where the boss would use a special attack, and in order to dodge it, you would have to get behind something. I can't think of what I'm thinking of right now, but yeah, that's the only way I could see that the boss would have something like that else that wasn't on the wall. So also in terms of how to get the boss to appear, I would kind of like it if it were sort of like a quest or a quest slash random event idea. So for so if it were to say be an earth creature, then you would mine it and discover that there was this creature that was underneath your POH, and you just slammed a pick into its head. Or if it were a creature made of metal, you would create it yourself using already discovered metal that would be a new material, and so would basically you'd have to put it together in order to create it. I don't know if this would be a one-time thing or when it's created, or you would have to do this every time that you enter the room. Haven't decided on that, but there are also other ideas that I can think of, like say sort of like a burning tree idea where you get a bunch of logs, or water creature that you discover by putting your hand in it, sort of like the bare-handed fishing. So that is basically the end of my ideas. I don't know if I've explained the ideas as well as I probably could have, but I would like to hear your guys' thoughts, so if you have any, leave them in the comments below, and especially some new ideas, that would also be pretty appreciated. And also, if you like this video, then remember to leave a like, comment below, and also subscribe to my channel. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.